Sonic has been a big part of my life, from childhood right up until now at my big age of 23. I had dips of interest in certain periods, but overall, I never stopped loving the little blue rat. Despite being on Sonic games, both official and non-official, from even as young as 4 years old, I never really took part in the general community until pretty recently. I'd watch some gameplay videos and play a few fan games back then, but I was also a kid so dumb that I was wondering damn, I can't wait for Sonic 06 to come out when I was 9 years old, and that was in 2010. And I also thought that playing the Sonic Heroes demo on PC, playing it so well would finally unlock more levels. So I wasn't exactly the brightest crayon in the crayon box, and I didn't really know where to meet people about Sonic. But I also wasn't really all that crazy about community back then either. But now, after interacting with the community a bit more, I decided that it might be fun to be a more active member in that community. And honestly, what better time to lock back in? Now, full disclosure, I was in a bit of a Sonic low period throughout the late 2010s. In the early 2010s, I was playing a bunch of the Wii and DS games especially, most namely Colors, Unleashed, Secret Rings, Black Knight, Chronicles, Rush, and Rush Adventure, and hell, I even finally got my hands on 06, because despite not being very in the know with current Sonic stuff, I always heard about 06's reputation, and even then, I was giddy as hell on that ride back home from GameStop. However, these were mostly old games by the time that I got to them, because for 90% of my life, I never got a Sonic game even close to release, but we'll get to that. And I never really knew much about new games that were actually coming out. Then come the late 2010s, and I just kinda fell off with Sonic in general. Not even really due to an actual reason, I just fell out of that sphere. Most of my exposure to Sonic games during this time was just watching playthroughs of some of the games, usually from Game Grumps. It was because of both of these reasons that a lot of the games during this time kinda just slipped through the cracks for me, mainly Lost World, Forces, and Mania. Though at least Mania I heard a little bit about, but for the most part, these games were unknown to me, and I never knew about the discourse surrounding the former two either. I just wasn't in the know, even less than I was as a kid. But this started to change more in recent years, basically after the 2010s for the most part, with the initial controversy surrounding the first Sonic movie and its doo-doo-ass Sonic model. Now typically, I watch YouTube channels on a rotation rather than watching the same channels all throughout certain periods of time, and one of those channels is Game Theory and all its side channels. And it was actually the film theory video about the movie that made me catch wind of both the movie and its completely understandable controversy at the time. And I was like, oh damn, they're making a movie and it looks like doo-doo butter. That's a real shame, but it looks like it'd be funny at least. So I was like, maybe I'll go see it. I didn't end up going to see it, or any of the movies to this day honestly, but that's about to change with the third movie coming out, and I'll get to that too. But it was the first time in a while that I'd heard about something recent regarding Sonic, and this sparked my interest a bit. It even got me to follow up a bit on both Forces and Mania, still not playing them to myself to this day, but at least finding out about them and watching videos on them. But this interest high was still rather temporary, because I didn't really follow up on too much of anything Sonic related directly after that. But it was the trailer for Sonic Frontiers that really got me sucked back in. Because I was following for any updates on the game, looking for trailers and any news that I could find about it, listening to that absolute banger vandalized dozens of times over, and just overall excited to see some real gameplay. And then that dastardly first gameplay trailer came out, and I was disappointed in what I was seeing, but not in a way that killed my hype much at all. It was really only after the gameplay trailer in the Nintendo Direct that both my and most other people's hearts were swayed by the game itself. Like, they must have had some true-born haters playing in that first gameplay trailer, man. The difference between these two is genuinely night and day. It was also around this time that I started using Twitter, and it let me catch on to some news more easily, but I still wasn't too engaged with the community itself just yet. And then Frontiers finally dropped, and day one, I still didn't get it. But not because I didn't want to. Your boy was just broke. I splurged on the pre-order for Sonic Colors Ultimate instead, both the first Sonic game I ever got on release, and the first game I ever pre-ordered. I ended up picking up Sonic Frontiers in May of next year, purposely avoiding any playthroughs and spoilers about the game so I could enjoy it as blind as possible, and my goodness, I was in love, man. An open world Sonic game is what I dreamed to have as a kid. Just a proper world to run around however I felt, and it finally came to be in Frontiers. Plus, as an avid Sonic battle enjoyer, having some combat in a Sonic game again was a beautiful bonus to have in a mainline game. I played through that game and had a blast with both the base game and the Final Horizons DLC when it came out. But even at this time, I still wasn't really engaging with the community too much. I'd drop a quote tweet or a reply here and there, but nothing really that crazy. If anything, I was actually starting to become more discouraged to engage with the community around this time. Because, see, I always heard rumors of how bad Sonic fans were from several different places, but never having direct contact to them myself before this, and the rumors weren't exactly wrong, man. Way too often would I run into really miserable individuals, just people starting arguments where there didn't need to be any, and discourse after discourse practically every week. It just made me want to sit back and observe the new stuff myself rather than engaging with the community much at all. But come a few months later, this started to shift again, because for whatever reason, my Twitter algorithm decided to be nice to me for once, and it started exposing me to some actually fun individuals in the fandom. People with a real passion for the series, and you can just feel that enthusiasm from these guys. And god damn did it get to me too. Because I started making concepts for fan games, I started playing through whichever of the old games I had readily available again, and even picking up a pencil to draw again, despite me stopping that from as far back as 8th grade. And to put that in perspective, I'm finishing up university now, man. That is a girthy amount of time. Seeing this side of the community made me want to truly engage and be integrated into it for the first time ever. And I wanted to make that start with my YouTube channel here. Because sure, I might not solely make Sonic-based content, but that's definitely going to be a main focus going forward. In fact, you can probably imagine what two of my biggest interests were as a kid for my channel name, because it's a name that I made from before I even hit double digits of age. And it's a name that I've been using in practically anything non-professional that required a username, which is Gonaku. It's literally just a mishmash of Sonic and Goku's names. And now, as a newly revitalized Sonic fan, I'm telling you guys that this is the perfect time for you to hop on Sonic, whether you're new or returning, because there's really no better time to get back into the franchise than right now. We've got Sonic Shadow Generations coming out, and that game looks absolutely fantastic. In fact, it's going to be my first proper experience to just Sonic Generations in general, so you know I'm hella excited. And then on the movie front, we've got the Sonic 3 movie coming out soon, and that looks goddamn stellar too. And we even got a Shadow manga coming out with some fantastic looking art, and the animations for Dark Beginnings are just, my goodness, man. Plus, among other things, the community itself is probably the most united I've seen it since I started engaging with them in any way. So much so that I've only seen one bit of discourse in like the past 2 months, which if you're on Sonic Twitter, I'm sure you know that's a goddamn godsend. There's just so much going on right now, and all of it looks high quality. There's bound to be some aspect of the series that'll reel you in, and I really do urge you to give that little blue rat and his buddies a shot. I know I'm no big voice in the community or anything. In fact, I'm pretty sure I'm completely unknown as of right now, but I sure as hell hope to reach more of you guys as time passes, because I've seen how great and enjoyable you guys can really be, and I'd love to share the passion that I felt from them and revitalize me as a Sonic fan, and maybe spread that to more of you. So I really say, give Sonic a shot. You might find something you like.